Hello and welcome to Evie's Editing School. Da-na-na-na, do-do-do-do-do, cool intro. Na-na-na-na, don't know what's gonna be here. Some kind of music. And maybe like me at a desk with like an apple. Da-na-na-na. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Evie Rees and I work in the adult industry. I have done for a while now and I make lots of weird, quirky, interesting videos. I've been meaning to make this series of videos for ages because my amazing industry friends will ask how I edit certain videos and how I make my content. So I just wanted to share the love, share the info. Massive disclaimer. This is just how I do things. I've looked up how to do things where I wasn't sure, but for the most part, I have just learned to do this by myself. So this is the way that I edit everything. This is not necessarily the best way to do things. I don't know, but this is just how I do it. So just showing you all how I make my videos. Obviously, the work that I do is not safe for work. So if you look me up on Twitter to see my work, there's gonna be boobies. So don't do that if you're just here for normal editing tips, because you can apply this to normal videos as well, but kind of the aim is to help people within my industry, so it'll be a little bit more specific, but still general good editing tips, I hope. Getting stressed already. Okay, without further ado, episode number 1, I am just going to go over the basics. I'm sorry my chair is creaking so much, I really need a new one. I'm just going to go over the basics, what I consider to be the basics anyway, how I started off and how I edit my normal videos without any of the special extra complicated bits, just to get like a nice baseline of how I do things, and then I'll do however many more episodes being more specific about the things that I do. So, episode number 1, the basics. Da-na-na-na. I don't know whether I'm going to do another intro bit there, maybe, who knows. So, this is going to be very insightful into the fact that I'm very bad with technology. So, just to put this into perspective, I'm giving advice to people. The easiest way of possibly doing everything, all of this advice is the easiest way I've found to do everything, because I'm really bad at technology, very bad at technology. So you can just, rest assured, if you don't understand something, neither do I, probably, so you all of this I'm about to show you is the easiest way of doing things, because I am not technologically savvy. That's a really great intro, isn't it? It's like, I'm going to teach you how to do all these things, but I'm really bad at it. But, I mean, I feel like my content speaks for itself in that it's cool and everybody wants to know how to... Anyway. Okay, so, first things first. I use Premiere Pro, however you say it. I say Premiere Pro, but then loads of people say Premiere Pro, and I don't know whether that's an English versus American thing or whether I'm just wrong, which is fine. So personally, this is what I use for the majority of my video editing. I also use After Effects, which I'll show you in another video, Photoshop Media Encoder, so everything in the Adobe Creative Cloud. I just download the ones that I need. There are plenty of other programs that you can use that are probably just as good, well, maybe, either for cheaper or for free. So this is not me saying that this is the best necessarily, this is just the one that I use. However, if you do want to use this and think that it is the easiest and the best for what you want to do, then you should try to get a student discount, because it's not cheap And if you have a student email, you know, from school or from uni, even if you're not still in school or uni, or, you know, your friends have an email or whoever, get a student discount. Not that you should lie about being a student. You definitely shouldn't do that. But I'm just saying, it's a lot cheaper. Anyway, so I'm going to name this test. This is just a new project. I clicked new project on the side because I had a whole wall of people's names from customs that I've made. So all of this general, everything here, I have just kept as its default. I have not done anything to any of this. I don't think. No, I haven't done anything to any of this. This is all just how it was when I first downloaded it, or when, you know, it was updated. So this is how it will open up. I have kept literally everything at its default from when I first got it. There's ways of cocking this up. For example, right, let's cock this up, shall we? Oh no, oh no. Oh, see, now when I try and cock it up, I can't. So there have been a bunch of times when I first started doing this that I was like, oh shit, I just closed something, and then I'm like, where is it gone? It's not there anymore. Ah, then I panic. So if it doesn't look like how it usually does, you've closed something by accident, either when you start or before, you know, when you're halfway through editing, click Window, click Workspaces, and then do Reset to Saved Layout, and that will bring everything back to how it's supposed to be. So I'm just saying that to get that out of the way first, in case you've opened it, fucked something up, and are trying to watch the rest of the video and learn how to do things but can't because you don't know how to get the things back on the screen, which I have done many times. So it doesn't matter what this one is right now. I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm just going to make it smaller. I have my video file here. Now this is in MP4 format. You can work with other video formats, but MP4 is the best and what most of them will be in anyway. I'll do another video about converting things, because sometimes you have to convert the format. I didn't explain what I was doing before I did it. Undo, undo, undo. So, there are many ways that you can drop your video into Premiere. You can either add it through your media browser over here, you can drop it, import media to start, or as it says here, drop media here to create a sequence. I'm pretty sure the right way of doing it is dropping it, import media to start area, and then dragging it across. Do I do that? No. No, I don't. I just drop it straight into here, and bam, there it is. The other way of doing it, when you do it over there, is drop it there, boop, and then it's just over there, and then you just have to drag it into there. So it's just one less step. The way that I do it, I have never had any issues with the way that I do it, even though I'll get people being like, why are you doing it that way? I'm like, because it's easier and it's quicker, and you can, it's just easier, because especially if you're dropping in more than one video. So if you're dropping in more than one, you just select, hold down shift, select as many as you need, and drag it in. So I could drag the same video in, and just have it straight after it. Ooh, wonderful, there's two of them now. Wow, that was a good pause. Oh yikes, this is very unflattering. I don't know what I'm doing in this video. Anyway, where do I start? What would the most basic thing be? So, to play the video, you have the little play button by here. Or you just click the space bar, which is what I usually do. I'll click the space bar when I want to play and pause the video and say, oh, okay, we don't need this bit, it's just the intro, and then the video will start here. So I've paused my video, you can see where it is paused, and then along this little section here, you see this little razor tool. Oh, very hardcore. Click on the little razor tool, and then you can see it comes up with this dotted line, and you can hover over where, oh, did I just click that by accident? You can hover over where you need to cut the video. If you need to be more precise, if you hold down Alt on your keyboard, if you roll down on your mouse like this, it zooms out. And if you roll the other way, then it zooms in. Which is very helpful if you need to cut it and you want to make it really precise. But usually, if you're cutting where this lovely blue pause line is, then it'll just cut bang on the line anyway. So go by here, we're like chop. Oh, so we've just cut that video into 2 parts. The first part we do not need, so we go back. We're still on the razor tool right now, which means if you click it again, it's just going to cut it again. So we go back to this little arrow at the top, click the part of the video that you don't want, and get rid of it. I just backspace it, delete it. There might be a formal way of doing it, but I don't give a shit. And then if you click this empty space that the video used to be in, so just click, oh, it used to be by there, backspace again, it'll fill the empty space with the rest of the video. You don't have to do that. You can also just drag it to where it needs to be. Ah, I look cute. Definitely didn't film this right before doing this. No, I just always wear those earrings and hair ribbons. Still wearing my pajamas. I just changed my top to be professional. So, we have cut the start of the video. A lot of people, when you start filming, you'll try and run the video all the way through, so you only have to cut the start and the end off. You don't have to, which you can do in a lot of other programs. Like if you've got a video and all you need to do to it is cut the start of it off and cut the end of it off, you can just do that on your phone. You do not need any kind of editing software like this if that's what you're currently doing with your videos. So there's no point. I would not use this if I didn't have to cut multiple times because I faff around so bloody much. There you go, see. So now I'm looking at some chocolate that I got on my top. That's not part of the lighting video. So I'm going to take my razor tool again, cut it, and be like blah 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 blah. Am I done complaining about chocolate on my top yet? No I'm not. And back to the lights. We're going to cut out this bit because it's not very flattering. And then we chop it here as well. So this part of the video we do not want anymore. We don't want it. Going to get rid of it and delete the space. So now I'm going to zoom into this bit where it's connected. You don't have to. I just like being zoomed when I do this. And then as you see, when you hover over it, when you're on the arrow tool, when you hover over the line, this little red box with an arrow in it will come up. Oh, it's either facing that way or it's facing that way. When you're joining 2 clips together, it doesn't matter which way the arrow is facing as long as you see that arrow when it's hovering over. So you click and it will turn the crease in between them red. This is just like normal left click. And then you right click once it's already selected. If you right click anyway, it won't do anything. So you click it and then right click it. And then you can select Apply Default Transitions, like this. So what that will do is instead of, I'll show you what it looks like without it first. Instead of the video just jumping to the next part like that, you see it's just doo-doo-doo, which is fine because for that you can't really tell anyway. But to have more of a smooth effect, and then it will be like this. Ooh, it'll blend into the next bit. Sometimes you want it to be a long blend, sometimes you want it to be a short blend. So you can change it by, if you hover over, see there's like a little red thing with a square. You double click it. There's probably other ways of doing this. Like I said, don't give a shit. This is the easiest way of doing it. And it'll come up with a duration. The smaller you make this number, the shorter the blend will be. So if I want it like 2 seconds, 0.0, it'll be like, bam! Hardly even blurring. Or if you want it really long, you can make it like this long. Oh, it's so long. Whoa. Oh, look how tasteful that is. I glitched out a little bit then. When you do this, it only does it to the thing. The audio is also blended together, so you can do the same thing with that. If you double click it, you can change. So you could have the picture fade and the audio not even fade between the 2 clips. So you can select these individually and just get rid of it if you want. So you can have the image fade, but the audio just cut straight from one clip to the next. Why am I overcomplicating this? Now, the next thing I learned how to do was to change the color, brightness, that kind of thing of the video. So before I had proper studio lights, I mean, even the ones I have are pretty shit, to be honest, but before, when I first started out and I was literally just using the proper yellowy room lights, as my lighting, and I didn't have any kind of lights for filming whatsoever, a lot of my content was either too dark or too yellow. And like, that's the problem with just using house lights and lamps and stuff like that, is the video will come out quite yellow. It doesn't look like studio light, which, to be fair, if you're doing amateur style stuff, it's quite hot. Keep it, like, leave it as that if you want, if that's your niche, because I don't particularly like watching stuff that's proper studio lit, so this is just how I do my own content. I don't make what I enjoy, gosh no, I wouldn't watch me. Anyway, so say you look at this and you're like, oh, it's a bit dark. It's not really, I lit this too nicely. I should have lit it really shit, shouldn't I? I mean, it's not lit perfectly, but anyway. In the little effects tab up here, when you click these, they open. So if you click the little effects tab, go into the search bar, and the thing that you will probably use the most is the brightness and contrast. Just if you are starting out and you're not changing a crazy amount about your videos, you are just tweaking it so it looks better. So if you type in brightness, you'll see brightness and contrast here. So to apply any of the effects in this little right-hand box to your video, you just need to drag and drop it onto your video. It's very simple. It wasn't the first time I did it, but it is now. So you click it, drag it all the way down here, and we want it on this first clip here. Bam! There it is. Did anything change? No. But if you go over here, if this isn't already open, if you click these little arrows here, you can click Effect Control so that this tab will be open, because it may be on this, and you're looking at it like, why am I looking at the Aurora Borealis? This isn't what Evie said should be on the screen. But you can change it, so not to worry. So now, as you may have noticed on my screen when I dragged that over, this little thing popped up here which has brightness and contrast on it. So say for this, I'm like, oh, I want the brightness to be 20. Wow, look at how great that looks. And maybe the contrast to be like 12. Oh, that looks so good. It's a bit much. 12, make that like 8. No, we want that brighter, we want like 16. You can change this as many times as you want. If you hover over it and you see the little arrows, you can just drag it to be 100 if you so wish. You can make it darker. The neon light looks really cool when it's darker, actually. But for now, I will have mine at maybe 16, and then this at 10. These little thingies by here, we will get to that later, because that, I don't want to overcomplicate the basics video by going into all of that right now. So ignore those little stopwatches. They are not important right now for what we're doing. So just change the brightness and the contrast. Exquisite. That's looking lovely. And then also I'm looking at that and I'm like, my skin is a bit of a weird color. I look a bit ill. So I'm going to go, now I'm going to go down to color down here. Lumetri? How do you pronounce that? I don't know. Color. Excuse me. Just unplugged something by accident. I will usually use this basic correction tab first. So if you click that, you can say, like I said, when your video looks like this, because that looks quite nice actually. It looks like this because you've used house lighting and you don't have any natural light or studio lights. You can cool down the temperature of your video just by doing this. You don't have to use any of the color wheels. You can just be like, wow, I want it blue. That looks really cool with my t-shirt. That looks so cool. Oh yeah, maybe we'll see. Now this is the problem. This is why I make quirky videos, is because I learn how to do these things and then I'm like, wow, I can make it blue. So we'll just tweak it just a tiny bit and say, well, look a little bit green. So we'll take the tint up a bit, make me look more pink. So I always try to film my videos with as good lighting as possible, as you should, obviously, but so that when I come to edit it, I don't have to do much more than just tweaking it slightly, if that, because if you do change these a massive amount, it will make the video look weird. It'll make it look, well, over edited, I guess, which, if that's the effect that you want to go for, great. But so I make customs most of the time, and it looking well lit but natural, kind of, is what I go for. Obviously here I've got loads of different colored lights just because I like it. But you can change all of these. You can change the exposure. You can change the contrast there, but I've always just done it in the brightness and contrast. That's mostly for the color. It affects it differently. Or maybe it doesn't, and I just think it does. But I do the brightness and contrast in its own little thing, and then I'll do this separately. Highlights, same thing. Shadows, same thing. Whites, same thing. I don't need to demonstrate all of these. Put them all back to 0. Saturation, sometimes I will tweak this a little bit if I'm doing a video where I want to look extra colourful. So I'll put that up just a smidge. And then we'll close that again. Now we'll go into creative. And now this is, say, if you tried to change the temperature of the video and it's not quite going the color you want and you're looking a bit like an alien, then you can use these wheels, or it basically does the same thing. Like I can't tell the difference, so you can. I'll do both and show you, but it doesn't make a difference. So I'll say, ooh, I'm looking a bit green, let's go this way. That's lovely. And then the other one, it's just like, make it blue. Ooh, so you can control the midtones, highlights, and shadows with this. But generally, unless you're doing like a super quirky video, it's very unlikely that you're going to be changing these more than just tweaking it to have the overall video a slightly different tone. So I change the highlights the most just because I'm pale and it's usually my skin that comes up as a weird colour depending on what lights I'm using, so tweak that a little bit over that way. Fabulous. But now what you are probably thinking is, oh, but Evie, you look so beautifully blue and almost dead in this part of the video, very ghost-like, vampire-esque skin tone. It's very blue and a bit weird. But the rest of the video is so disgustingly normal. Look at that, you look like regular human colour in this bit. Surely you want to be this bit. I should have just lit this really badly and made it really yellow so that my point will be better rather than me making it look weird, but it's still, you get the gist. Here I am, clearly not looking as bright, as contrasted, or as blue as this bit of the video. And what I used to do is be like, oh, shit. Well, obviously I have to make all of those changes before I cut the video up. So I'd be like, oh, I gotta restart the whole thing. Or when I started off, I would export the entire video and then drop the entire video back in and then put the effects over the whole video because I'd forgotten to do it before I cut the video up. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Click the clip that has the effects on that you want. This lovely bluish hue and making me look a little bit weird. This is what we want the video to look like. Obviously, why would we not? Click that video and copy it. You're like, what? Why are we copying it? I don't want to copy that bit of the video, but alas, we are not. Well, we are, but anyway. And then go to the part of the video that you want those effects to be applied to, and then you right-click that bit of the video and you click Paste Attributes. So you click that, it'll come up with this. If you've done any kind of editing that's moved or resized the video, just deselect motion because that'll affect it, but we haven't done any of that, so it doesn't matter if that is selected right now. And then we click OK, and bam! Look at that. Exquisite. Way too bright for this bit, and then you can be like, oh, well, this bit of the video, even though I want it the same, it's a little bit too bright now, so I'm gonna take it down a notch. I'm gonna just calm down a bit here because this is just beautifully lit anyway. So you can pretty much copy and paste. I'll do like a separate thing for Photoshop as well because I never knew you could do that either. It's just blown my mind when I found that out. And we'll do the same here. Woo. Bam. Beautiful. Okay, so I have covered chopping out bits of the video, transitioning parts of the video that you have cut out, blending different parts of the video together, changing the brightness, contrast, color, the basic visual effects that you can put on your video. So pretty much everything that I would do to my normal videos is what I've shown you here. I will add one more thing because I feel like this is a kind of falls into the realm of basic tips. But then I will end this video and make the next video about audio and music and all of that lot, because I feel like I'm going to cram way too much into this if I try to do that as well. So the last thing I'm going to do is show you how to put text over your video, because it's like a fairly simple, you know, maybe at one part of the video, for example here, I have my little plushie Jason, and I want a little label here that that makes everybody aware that that's Jason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this box, just click off the video and come up to graphics and titles. Click this. Now what I used to do is really, still worked but didn't really, is I'd just click the type tool and just click randomly, but this is the proper way of doing it. This is something I'm actually doing the proper way now because I'm creating a new layer and everything. Okay, so you graphics and titles, select new layer. I will show you all about adding shapes, adding overlays or whatever in another video, but for now we're just going to do text, regular horizontal text. Click text, go to my little text button down there so that I can click in, oopsie, so that I can click in here and type Jason. There we go. A little arrow as well. Jason. There he is. And then, as you can see, that will come up if you've still got, I'm pointing at the screen, you can't see my hand. If you've still got, excuse me, if you still have effect controls open, you will see that the text will come up here. So you click this little arrow next to it, boop. You can change the, oopsie, wow, we don't want it bold. You can change the font. I'll do a whole other video of like using new fonts and downloading fonts and all of that lot, because that's something that took me a while as well. I had no idea how to download fonts. I was just like, oh, I just got to use these shitty ones, and I want like a nice cute one from dafont.com or some other such website, which obviously you should pay for if you're going to use and other people are going to see it. Important, because I only use fonts that I have actually paid for, because you can get some that are just for personal use and it's free for personal use, but if you are selling the video, then you have to get. I'm going to talk about that in another video. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm going to make the text black so we can see it, because it's very, very pale. I'm just going to move it. I'm going to move it over here so we can all see that that is Jason. So now you can see my little text box is by here, and it will pop up when I'm done being an idiot. There we go. Jason, just so you all know that that's Jason. You can do the same thing with videos with the transition so that it will fade in and the fade out. So it's more professional. Jason. My sister got me Jason for my birthday last year. I love him very much. His face is derpy. I know I just threw him away, but he likes it, so he consented to that. Anyway, I said that text was going to be the last thing, but it's not. The only other thing that I'm going to do this in the basics is for both text and video and images and whatever you have put in your composition. I'll show you with videos first. If you need to make it bigger or to the side, say I'm not perfectly central right now, I don't like this, so I click on the video, and in the effects controls you can see scale here, so I will make it bigger like this, and then position, we'll move it left to right. So say, oh no, we don't want my pajamas in there, we want my head. And you can do the same thing as I showed you earlier with brightness and contrast. If you hover over, then you can drag it like this. Mine isn't fabulous at doing this because it's just laggy. It's laggy. But there we go, and now I'm more in the center of the screen, and it applies that to the whole video. So as I said earlier, when you are cutting and pasting attributes, if you were to copy this and paste the attributes here, if you had motion selected, that would then affect the size and the how you've moved the video. So if you click OK, boop, it'll do the same thing, where it's then zoomed in and whatever. If you want to copy and paste just the video effects, then you can do that, paste attributes, and just don't have this selected so that it doesn't change how big it is. Because quite often in bits of video, I'll say, oh, this chunk of video needs to be edited the same and lit the same, but I've got some weird thing in the corner that I can just about see, so I'll just make it bigger so you can't see whatever the weird thing I've left on my shelf, or there's not supposed to be lube on screen, or whatever. You can just effectively just crop it out by doing that. So, what have we done? Cutting parts of the video, transitioning between parts of the video, adjusting brightness, contrast, color, adding text, and then adjusting the size and framing of the video. I think I don't want to overcomplicate the first one because it is supposed to be basics, and this is all I do to my normal, boring, unimaginative videos. This is all I do to it. Obviously not to this extent. I don't edit them this heavily, but that's just as an example. So in the next video, I think I'm going to focus on audio. So music, adding you talking over it if you're not talking in the video, sound effects, how you can separate the audio from the video, how you can change the volume, all of that kind of stuff. I think I'll save that for the next one. So this can be a visual one, and then you can have an audio one, and then I can go into a lot more detail with doing cool shit, like putting stuff that you've made in Photoshop on it, or well, I can't think of anything else, doing cool glitchy effects and stuff like that. We will do in maybe episode 3, maybe? No, 4? We'll see. Anyway, I really hope that that was helpful, even though it was mostly me just rambling. I might try and do like a recap that's just all written on the screen to make it helpful, maybe, or, well, I mean, if you follow me on Twitter or ManyVids and you see this, or YouTube, I might put this on YouTube because it's safe for work. Didn't think about that. Then obviously feel free to message me if what I've said doesn't make any sense, and I'll try and explain it a bit better because I'm more than happy to do that. And I will get people messaging me about some of the videos I already have, asking how to do things, so I'm more than happy to explain in more detail if this wasn't adequate, or if you're using a different software, or I'm just rambling now. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in episode 2. Bye.